How's it going, all you guys and girls in the Illumination? Time to jump aboard the Loom train. It's JJD, JJ Double J, the Illuminator here. The Sweet One. Also known by almost countless other aliases and nicknames, but we won't get into that right now. I wanted to talk a little bit about myself. I know, big surprise, but a little bit more about me and the way that I think and the way that I am and everything. But I grew up in a small town in Rhode Island. It wasn't like a city. Technically, it was a city because of the population, but it was broken up into like three different sections. The section that I grew up in was the least bit like a city because it basically wasn't many businesses. It was mostly just neighborhoods. So it was really more like the small town feel. Kind of like one supermarket in town. One or two gas stations. I think there was two stoplights in town, in the section rather, that I grew up in. But all in all, I mean, it could have been so much worse. I mean, I lived there until in that neighborhood until I was 13 years old. The day I turned 14, we moved. Um, but growing up there and going to school in that type of an environment, to anyone that's never lived in, the quote unquote small town, might not know what it's like. I mean, it's all you know, basically. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't know any different because it's all you've ever known. But, traveling to bigger cities like Providence or Boston, or, to a lesser extent, Connecticut once in a great while, but that was like Mystic Seaport was this big thing in Connecticut where you can go and see like, animal shows. It was kind of like a Sea World type thing. Um, it really just living on the water, basically. There's so much water in Rhode Island, made up of so many islands. And we're so small here, everything is nearby. But I did a vlog way back when about the elementary school that I went to in town and how it had fallen under disarray. At some point, I guess, in the early 2000s, it wasn't a public school anymore. They would rent it out to, it was some type of a private school, but it was for special needs and stuff like that. Um, and the expression, I should have did it while it was there, or, something to that effect. It always comes into play because last year they totally demolished the school, and it had a bigger effect on me than I thought it would. And if you know me, you know this is probably something that would have bothered me. But I always had visions of, as an adult, being able to see that school again on the inside. I mean, if you're from a school that you could still go, you have kids, and your kids went to the same school as you, and you've been there, you probably, you think it's second nature or something. But for me, I always anticipated seeing that school as an adult, and just because the way my brain works, I can remember more than the average person when it comes to being in different places and still seeing myself in different places because my memories are so strong. I always thought I would be able to go back as an adult and say, yeah, this is the room I had kindergarten in. This is the room that, because there was a certain classroom, and it wasn't that big a school. It had like maybe 10 classrooms in it, and it went from kindergarten through fifth grade at the time. Um, but there was one classroom that I had in that particular room was my first grade, and it was also my third grade because they moved some of the teachers around uh, when I was in second grade. So lo and behold, by not being able to do that, it had some type of an effect on me, and I can't explain it other than to say it's almost like when you had a dream and now there's absolutely no way, and I'm not talking about a dream at night, sleeping, like an actual dream, like you want to go visit Paris or something. And no, I'm not comparing this to Paris, but imagine if you had a dream like you wanted to go visit, the World Trade Center. And, not that this is that, anything like that, but, the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers are gone. No one could ever go back and be in those particular buildings. Well, that's what it's like for me. Like, it's a dream of mine that will never be fulfilled. So it kind of left an empty hole. And I think about it a lot. I always wanted to go back. Like when I was in eighth grade, a friend of mine that we had the same fifth grade teacher, now his younger sister was in second grade when we were in eighth grade. So we would go there once in a while and pick up his sister or walk her home. Um, is a good friend of mine growing up, and he just happened to move closer to me for like a year up until the time that we ended up moving. Not me and him, me and my family. Lo and behold, to go back and see some of our teachers as we were waiting, because our school in the junior high school got out before the elementary schools did. To go back and see some of our teachers, that's the closest memory I have to be able to say, you know, Mrs. Anderson, like, when did they lower these chalkboards? And she's like, JJ, they didn't lower the chalkboards. You just got taller. And to see it from an adult standpoint, even from then, not even an adult, like a teenager standpoint, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, these classrooms look so small, but when I was here, they didn't seem small. So, some of the ways that I think, I feel like this is a dream that I'll never be able to fulfill. So it leaves a hole. It's almost like a death. It's not a death, but it's almost like a death of a place, if that's the way I can put it. Anyway, thanks for helping me get this off my shoulders and off my chest and everything. But that's kind of like the way I think. Like when something's not there anymore, it's something I wanted to do, now I can't. Now there's a hole there. You know what I'm talking about? I hope you do. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. I'm off to the races. I love you all. Stay safe. Be good to yourselves. This is the Illuminator, and I'll be back.
Hey, sorry man, we're all out of porridge.
Son of a bitch!